Welcome to the channel. I appreciate you for tuning in. Be sure to show your support by hitting that subscribe button and maybe leaving a comment down below. Let's get into it.
So I'm kicking my husband out after he asked for a DNA test on our baby. Here go the last of your stuff. Don't come back.
Now, where I'm from, a hit dog will holler. Meaning, if you did something wrong, you're going to eventually tell on yourself. And just by the man asking, she kicked him out. Now, I'm going to let you decide if you think that he was the pappy or not.
I told you.
I know who the daddy is.
I think that the United States making DNA testing mandatory is stupid. I don't.
I can't agree with that. Swab his mouth, swab her mouth, swab them kids, swab. Make it mandatory.
All right, men, it's our time. Our time has come. Ladies, your time has come too. Guess what? Maternity fraud is now legally a crime, and if a man is forced to pay child support for a child that was not his, oh, get ready. Guess what, ladies? You now owe the entirety of all that child support back to that man. If a man asks for a paternity test and that child is not his, which, by the way, 30% of the time it isn't, if that man can prove infidelity, which means you cheated, you may owe the entirety of all that child support back. And if you cannot pay it back, you are going straight to jail. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. Ladies are now being held accountable for their actions. I feel like the female kind is going to absolutely despise this. The male kind is going to absolutely love this. By the way, this has already been held against men, so don't even try to play that.
Which states? I need to know. Is this federal across the board? Which states does this apply? I don't need to know. I mean, so I can spread the word for you guys. You guys out there slanging that pipe. You better be careful, but that's a win. That's a small victory for us right now. And then, hey, makes it easier for mandatory testing at birth. Solves all that. I was waiting for him to be like, hey, she's got to pay all that money back, plus a little interest, but we'll take what we can get, right?
I had two guys call in. They work at DNA testing centers. One guy had to quit. One guy still works there. He told me 40% of the children are not the man's child. 40%. He said 40%.
Somebody cool,
and
Maury.
it's usually
make DNA testing
it's
mandatory.
It's two scenarios. It's where the woman, the person's getting a DNA test because the woman claims that is their child. Turns out it's not. The other one is where the parent is on the deathbed and makes a confession, or they need a liver transplant, blood transfusion, and the blood type, there's no way that can actually be the father. So then they find out because of medical reasons, you mean that's not my father? Then the father finds out from that way. He said it took such a toll on him that he could no longer do it because he would be sitting on the phone counseling the men and the grown children who these women falsely accuse. We see it on Moore, we see it on paternity court, but yet we say men need to be held accountable.
Can you imagine the stress toll on that man? I mean, it was already a stressful situation, probably the most in your whole life that you would have to deal with, because Lord knows a parent doesn't want to see their child sick. Now you're doing whatever you have to do and you're going to sacrifice a piece of you, literally, and you can't do it. Why? Because you are not the father. Man, I can't fathom it. I cannot wrap my head around what that would feel like.
Don't swipe now. Come back here. Hey, ladies, did you know that paternity fraud is now a crime? Yeah, let's talk about House Bill 2689, because they locking y'all up.
So I know this video gonna make the girls want to tussle with me, but I don't care. I think DNA testing should be mandatory at birth, right then and there. Not only is it very much foul to have somebody thinking that they are the father of a child and they are not. I don't care how y'all put that. I don't care what excuse y'all make. That's foul. But that's not the only reason I say that. These hospitals be mixing people babies up. So he might not be the daddy, but you might not be the mama either. So I think to save people 18 years of dealing with a foul baby mama, because usually women that do that be foul. You gonna get this man hell knowing this ain't his baby. It should just be a DNA test right there, right in there when a baby is born.
She brought up two great points right there. Ladies, this child might not be yours either. They actually take that baby away and and have the misfortune of swapping the kids, you might not be growing up with your actual child. So that'll save you from that. I don't know the percentages, even though if it is small, it does happen. It has happened before. But the second one, can you imagine going through baby mama drama? I mean, she is on you all the time. You sitting up there trying to be a good dad, do whatever you got to do, provide. It didn't work out in a relationship, but you're giving it your all, being there for your child. And survey says, I'm laughing, but it ain't funny. DNA test will prove that that isn't your child after you went through all of that stress. Oh, I never thought about that. I always just think about the case of you just raising somebody else's kid and relationship kind of falls apart, but it's not together. But can you imagine all of that day in and day out and still not your child? Whoo.
Unfortunately, the courts don't feel this way. If you are married, like for instance, my husband and I are married, and I was to get pregnant by another man, he would be responsible for the child support for 18 years, even though it's not his child, because we're married. That's the way the courts work. So messed up.
I guess we got another law that we need to work on because, hey, if she tips out, I feel like that other man needs to keep right on simping for that baby. Because what if they work it out and they stay together, but he's still liable? Actually, if they get divorced, he's still liable. Man, court system is jacked up.
Okay, listen, y'all. So, as I'm supposed to be working, but anyway, I was on IG and I seen a clip that it said that women may feel like their rights are being compromised because they're trying to come out with something where men have the right to get a DNA test as soon as the child is born. But what I'm trying to understand is, how is the women's rights being compromised when soon as the baby start crying, you filing for child support? How is your rights being compromised when you're requiring them to care for this child? Like, it's not making sense to me. The only people that's would have a problem with this is these women, okay? And quite frankly, I feel like men should have a DNA. It should be automatic. It should be a law, okay?
Anywhere from 5 to 30% of the general population, men are raising and paying for children that are not theirs and don't know. According to the American Association of Blood Banks, between 25 and 30% of the males who are accused of being the father, they take a paternity test and find out they did not do it.
Are you for mandatory DNA testing at birth?
I am absolutely on record as saying that if we want to prevent the problem of having men challenge paternity later down the road, is then let's apply a proactive solution. Automatic DNA testing at birth would work to help two things. One, we would assure that the right parents were named on the birth certificate. Two, it would stop paternity fraud and take the profit out of paternity fraud.
But so many women's groups say this wouldn't be fair. You're acting like you don't trust the mother. Why do you think they say that?
It's a red herring. It takes away from the focus of, well, who's the one person who has all of the information about potential fathers or the paternity candidates? It is the child's mother. And currently, in most places, she has no duty to disclose that, well, wait a minute. Well, my husband's not really my child's father. My boyfriend is. Like, well, wait, lady. But you're married. You forgot that you were married? No. But thanks to no-fault divorce laws, she can get the house, the property, alimony, and child support, and then move the boyfriend into the house.
Now, why did they have to tax on the child support portion of that? I mean, we heard in the previous clip that if they're married and she's tipped out, he's still got to take care of it. But can you imagine alimony, house, child support, all of that, all in one? Yeah, you done lost your wife. Man, that's insult to injury, and that's enough to drive a man insane.
The system doesn't make it easy. So speaking of the system, what are you doing or what have you done to help change some of these laws that are so unfair to men?
Well, it's actually unfair to men, women, and children. See, I'm the guy that's officially on record saying that every child deserves to know the truth about their heritage, their ancestry, And you can't do that when you only rely on verbal representations, just take somebody's word for it. Oh yeah, that's your dad. Yeah, but he looks like the FedEx guy. Oh, no. Well, actually, it could be the milkman. Well, no, we no longer have a milkman, but here's the problem. I have been very instrumental in raising the public awareness on the issue of paternity fraud as a problem that needs to be corrected.
The funny thing is, for whatever reason, we are so drawn to our biological parents. We can have been adopted at an early age, had the best life ever. Find out in your mid-20s that you were adopted, you would still go out and search for that mom and dad that, for whatever reason, had to give you away. Didn't want you, wanted you, couldn't provide for you. You would still search them out. Even if you had the best stepdad ever, you didn't know he wasn't your dad, you still want to go find your own dad. What is that inside us that pulls us so hard to our biological parents? Even if you knew your biological parents and they were crap, because parents can be bad at the same time. They're not always right. Why are we drawn to that? I don't know. Psych 101 might tell you, but I don't have the answers for you.
Memphis Representative Antonio Parkinson is sponsoring House Bill 2698 that would require DNA evidence proving paternity before a man signs a birth certificate for a child that may not be biologically his.
The state has been turning a blind eye to this by allowing people to sign blindly without any proof of DNA association to this child, which is allowing people to be guilty, or in some cases, of paternity fraud, which is a crime. It's only right and the moral thing to do, an ethical thing to do, to ensure that the right people's names that match their DNA is on that birth certificate. Anything other than that, you are stealing a child from a biological parent, and it's state sanctioned.
On child support, and I never said this was my child.
This mound of paperwork shows a juvenile court judge ordered him to pay child support even before the birth.
I didn't do a voluntary acknowledgement. I didn't sign the birth certificate. All I knew is we legitimated the child in your name.
He took the child himself to get a DNA test and found the son he'd supported for years was not biologically his. He took the documentation to court. The judge wouldn't accept it, but ordered a new DNA test done that showed the same results. Probability of paternity, 0%.
So this man sat up there and spent his own money. And the court's like, nah, throw that out. We're going to spend the taxpayers' money. We're going to check the legitimacy of this. And found out that his test was right after all. And how can you just sit up there and point the finger? I think he's the dad right there. Yeah, he signed a birth certificate, wasn't in their life, anything like that, and still had to pay? Man, it is hard out there being a man. Protect yourself at all times, fellas.
You say there is no way you are a biological father after finding a tape of your wife with another man, 18-year-old Tiana. Mr. Fowler, you are not the father.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Mr. Brown, you are not the father. Mr. Bell.
Why the tears, baby? Why are you crying? Why the theatrics in the courtroom? You knew it was a possibility. And this 18-year-old, they always like to say that men are predators, but this 18-year-old, you won. You had a husband. You ain't got an 18-year-old, and who knows what this other person is. But it's not your husband's, and it's not the child. Excuse me, the 18-year-old man's. Rough out there. So the reason why I love the internet is because we have the right to just voice ourselves. Hell, I'm doing it right now. But this person just, from their brain to their fingertips, throws it out there, says, DNA tests are so annoying. Babies are a blessing, which they are. Just accept the baby you've been given. Here you go. Man, get out of there with that, man. Just accept all my bad mistakes and my accountability. And yeah, I ignored you when I was child free and you were child free. But now I'm coming with this little extra baggage and responsibility. You should just accept it. Be a man.
Yeah, she should be charged with paternity fraud. You know, of course, mom can't take responsibility and say, I slept with multiple men in 1 week. Sit those men down and say, one of you is this child's father. I don't know which one it is. Can we do a DNA test? Instead, it seems like she's drawing a name out of a hat. Maybe it's the one that makes the most money. Maybe it's the one that took her to Denny's in the morning instead of leaving her cold in a bed with the wrong phone number. Mom knows who she slept with. Alleged dad does not. It is her responsibility to be honest and have some sort of moral compass to where she could do what's best for her child, not making that child believe someone else is their father, and doing what's morally right toward this man instead of just pinning a child on him because he seems like the best candidate. He tried to step up, be responsible, sign the acknowledgement of paternity. Therefore, it is his fault. And these aren't only just one-night stands. These are long-term relationships where alleged father, had no reason to believe anyone else would have fathered the child when he had been in a relationship for 5 years with this woman, and she was just really good at covering it up. But thankfully, thanks to women like you, men are realizing they need a DNA test regardless of marital status. And you bet your ass we are teaching our sons the same thing.
He just found out the baby isn't his.
I've been calling this girl all morning, bro. The papers just came in. I've been calling her all morning, dummy. Find out the baby not mine. What am I? Like, bro. This girl been playing in my face all morning, bro. All morning. You come drop the baby off with nothing. And it's just gonna ring out. Been calling her all morning, man. All morning, bro. I do everything for both of them, bro. Her and her mother. I take care of these girls, bro. I just got a new house, bro. I just moved. I uprooted my entire life for this.
She been on your ass about this shit.
To find out,
dead wrong, bro.
To find out the baby not mine, bro. To find out that the baby not mine, bro.
Right.
And it's crazy, bro. Out here who don't even know their child's name, let alone their birthdays, bro.
Brother speaking the truth, and not to be cold, there's another daddy that doesn't know this child's name because he isn't the father. And that's not quite a conversation you want to have over the phone. Just try to keep it cool. Say, hey, I need this for the baby or whatever. Try to get a meet up and then have that conversation face to face because she knows she's wrong and she's definitely avoiding you like the plague.
I got to get inside and make my husband's lunch for tomorrow, but I was checking these comments and saw this one. What are your thoughts about treating paternity fraud as a serious crime instead of mandatory DNA tests at birth? Well, to be honest with you, I see no reason why women should not be held equally criminally accountable for fraud that men are for evading child support. But the problem with that is it'll never happen because the state does not want to raise those children. They need her goofy ass to be raising up them kids, even if it costs them her housing and their free lunches and all of the shit that goes along with low income. That's still less expensive and less disruptive than having her behind bars. So the uterus is your get out of jail free card. Not saying it's right. I'm just saying that's probably how the state would look at it. Why would we jail these women and spend all this money and resources catching up to their dumb asses for lying about who the baby daddy is, when in the end, the state's just going to lose more money? Because they don't care about people. They don't care about kids. They don't care about dads. They don't care about justice. They just care about money.
Another point will be you want to catch it on the front end. Why wait and play the long game? There's no extra money in it for them. You could just cut that off right there in the beginning and save everybody all the headache. You don't have to sit up there and chase down and use all our tax-paying money, all our tax dollars to find and prosecute this fraudulent individual. Just go ahead and clear it out. Let them know day one, literally day one.
You are not.
I knew it!
Thank you!
Thank you! I knew it! I knew it! Told you! I told you! He's a liar! No, he's a liar!
And I know who the daddy
is. I told you!
Whoa! They ain't ready. They are not ready for this story. There's a bill out of Memphis, Tennessee that's being proposed for it makes it mandatory for unmarried fathers to take DNA tests to sign birth certificates. You know what that means, fellas? That means that you ain't got to worry about, you're the father because I said so. What if I'm not the father? You ever thought about that? So what you're saying is that you're not going to take care of us? Oh, this is not your baby now? I wasn't with you for these past 2 years? I'm not saying you was with me for the last past years. I know that, but who else were you with? Oh, I see what you on. The only thing I'm on is to find out if this baby is mine or not. So, you know, there's a lot of guys that have lost out on so much time because they've been taking care of kids that were theirs. Not saying that it's not a problem to do so, but at least give me the right to know if that's my child or not.
Man, M-Town, that's Memphis, is doing it out here big. I knew about Florida, but I didn't know about Memphis. Seems to be catching on. Now, that doesn't give you gentlemen a pass to sit up there and be irresponsible on your part. So you still need to protect yourself at all times. But it's a start. And we can start by hitting that subscribe button on your way out.